Today's topic is about cameras. So it's one of those keystone important lessons that we have to make sure you fully understand. Okay. Without this, you have a problem, huh? Now, if I can have your attention already, we should start. All right. The contents, we are going to cover these few things. Firstly, camera positioning. How to place cameras appropriately and properly in the interior design context. That's one. And how to set the cameras properly so that you get the best view of things. Okay. The next part is also on certain camera techniques or camera tricks, you want to call it, tricks of the trade, so to speak. All right, on camera clipping, how to create sectional perspectives, this part. Okay, how to create camera sectional views, and using camera, how to prepare rendered plans. Okay, and the last part is how to create panoramic images. All right, panoramic images will allow you to create what we commonly call the VR, the 360 degrees VR tours these days. This part. All right. So I hope to get you quite interested in this. Now, first of all, on camera positioning. These days, nobody reads Straits Times. So if you do at all, you probably read the Straits Times using your phone or something. All right. But now, do you commonly see condo developments or not? Like they advertise it to the death, so you see a lot of beautiful renderings and all, right? Okay. Now, if you notice, there is always a particular look to things. Yeah. Like for example, I just show you a quick example here. Just doing an image search, all right, and then you see this one. Now let's look at this one for example, Okay, this one for example, and all. Okay, I just try to circle them out. So I don't know whether you will see certain similarities or not in this case, This way. All right, if you notice right here though, if you notice right here on my screen, you will see that there are more circled images and very little non-circled images. Okay, there is a certain similarity there in terms of the way the images are prepared. Okay, if you look at this now.
Do you see that in the camera views, the buildings all look straight in this case?
Alright, if you look at it now, this is an aerial shot, for example, here. This one is an aerial shot. But if you notice, the building looks straight. Correct enough? Straight, 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 straight. Alright? Now, very rarely or very seldom, you will begin to see buildings that converges. Like this one, for example. Okay, building that tilts and converge. This one. This relates to your year one foundational study on perspective drawing, right? Manual perspective drawing. Did you guys do the 2-point perspective drawing? Did you do 1-point perspective drawing? Have you attempted 3-point perspective drawing? No, okay. All right. Now this one will equate to what we will call the 3-point perspective. Okay. This one also then 3-point perspective here. This one. All right. If you notice here, I'll show you something that is more related to us now in interior design practice. If you look across the images here,
Are these images generally 2-point perspectives or 3-point perspectives?
okay, I can almost certainly say they are all generally 2-point perspectives. These are what we call the typical interior look of interior rendering look, the 2-point perspective looks and all. All right. So very rarely, I repeat, would you now see things that happens like this? Okay. This is what I will call the typical
Amateurish or high on drugs or got drunk look.
all right, because normally when you're high on drugs or drunk already, then you begin to lose your balance and you stumble and then you start looking up and down and everything. So you get stuff that looks like this. And this would be our typical new user attempts at using cameras and all. Okay, the renderings don't look something like that because the cameras are not placed properly. I didn't say this to tell you a story. I say this in relationship to what we're going to cover later on, so that you understand the importance of placement of cameras and elevation. I'll show you another example here, this one, like that. Okay. Now, in our practice, though, however, stuff just don't look good when you start doing things like that. Okay. When you start doing things like that, you just lose the impact of the interior for some reason here. So we are very, very used to, therefore, a certain look that looks this way. A 1-point or typically a 2-point perspective. So we wanted the walls to appear parallel and we wanted the walls to appear vertical and straight. All right, so that's what we're going to cover first things first, here. Now, another thing to look out for also though, is the height placement of the camera itself. All right.
Yours truly here is a short, typical Asian man, which is about 1.7 meters tall. If you factor out the top of my head to my eye, which is about 100 mm or so, depending on what kind or height of shoe I wear, my eye level will be somewhere between 1.4 to 1.6 meters height. I hope you see my point here.
So here we go. Let's go to Max now and take a look. This is what you should see when you first open this up. To make your life easy and to be
Jump into this particular exercise.
all right, that's why we give you what we call a half-built model that looks like this. With this, you would see a 3D model that looks half-built. We wanted to give you a real-life example of what happens when you prepare renderings and all. So, being new users,
Our concern is you do too little, or worse, sometimes you do too much.
okay? Just like when you go for internship or you start working, boss asks you, can you prepare this master bedroom for me so that we can get it rendered and give nice images and all. You do not model, this is a 3-story flat, 3-story house by the way. You do not prepare this 3-story house by modeling the entire building right down to the last detail. No, if you are working on the bedroom, you basically model and render only the bedroom area. So the bedroom area is somewhere here along this region at this point, right? Down here. So we are not going to work on anything else but just the bedroom part. Okay? And then all our camera efforts and everything will involve working around this area only. Okay? Now, first of all, we got to prepare the perspective view. Now, typically the perspective view,
Typically in an interior perspective setup, we would like to see as wide or as much as possible within the interior setting. This would mean that we will have to be very careful about the camera angle that we use. If you have done photography before, you will probably remember the part on camera lens length. Now, what is a normal camera lens length? The length should be 50 mm. It's a lens length that offers the closest width and depth of view to our eyes. It's also what we call the normal lens.
Now, if you notice, if you use 50 mm as a lens angle, you will typically see too little. All right, so we use something else. Okay, before we get started on that area, let's share with you how to plant a camera first. First of all, you must be in the top view or the plan view here. So we would maximize this part here first on the top view here. This one you can follow me because the creation of the camera is very fast and straightforward. When you make a mistake, it will instantly show this part. All right, so just maximize this plan view. Go to plan view, okay, or the top view here. Then you go to create, go to cameras, and look for standard camera, and look for target. You see this? Do not use a free camera. Use a target camera. Do not use a physical camera. Use a target camera only. Okay. When done, you click on it. Very simply, just select an empty area here. Click, drag, and let go. This part will be the camera location. This part will be the target location here. Okay, I'll repeat one more time. You definitely need me to. All right. Click, drag, and let go. And then you have created the camera already. Just that. Very straightforward. Now, the moment you have finished creating it, can you go to Modify tab now? And look under the parameters header. So we close off everything and then we expand only the parameters here. Do you also now see you have a bunch of stock lenses here? Now, usually I find that the optimal lens angle to use would be 20. So if you click on 20 mm, you now find that it widens from the triangle. Do you see that the triangle now widens by a lot? Bear with me first, do 20 first for now, okay? And then notice how I do this. These new users, you're going to get a little bit confused, okay? Usually how it works is the camera with target allows us to easily control where we want to stand and what we want to see on plan. So that's why we would want to have this camera and target function. First of all, we select the camera. I'm going to use the move command to just drag it to the corner of a room here. All right. So how this space works is basically this. Now, this is the master bedroom this way. Okay, so we want to be standing here looking at the interior spaces this way. All right, that's how it's going to be, yeah? So after this is done, you pick on the target and then move it somewhere here, taking the corner as a reference here, all right? Take this corner as a reference. So that's it. If you now split 4 views, alternate W, all right, and then activate the top right hand viewport, and then if you key in C, you should now go into the camera view. Select camera 1. You should see something like this. Okay. Do you see something that looks like this now at this point? Once you have this, you will now notice in your other views here, do you now see your camera's location or not? Let's say in front view or left view here. Next part is, if you notice right now the camera is an ant view. That means it's looking like an ant because it's literally placed on the floor. This view looks like that now. We want to raise it so that it becomes a human height. So let's use 1.5 as a gauge, okay, as a common standard here. So inside the left viewport, okay, what you can do is you can select. You notice here between the camera and the target. Between the camera and the target, there is a line in between. If you click on that line, you will select both the camera and the target. Right? That's what we want to do. We want to select both things at the same time so that we raise it up. I will give you a negative example why you should do this. So look at my screen here. I'm doing this right now. Okay, I'm in the left view. Okay, I'm in the left viewport now. I will select the camera. I will right click the move icon. Okay, right click on the move icon to call out the move transform type in. Then I can key in precisely the numbers. Okay, remember this. You need a lot of practice. After a while, you get used to it. This part. Now, once this is done, at the y-axis here, key in 1500. Enter. I repeat one more time. Right click on the move transform type in, and at the y-axis here, key in 1500. Enter. You will find that now you will achieve the angle that we are all looking at right here. Very, very nicely. Okay. To see the preview results, right? Use the Shift Q option here, or press F9 to do a preview render. Then you can see the intended outcome here. Can or not? This part very important because you need to do interior rendering, interior perspectives.
Rendering is a little bit slow, but you get the overall picture, yes?
So I will just show you this one very, very quickly. All right. I will show you the functions here. It's quite interactive. You can select the target now. All right. If you drag and select the target and move around, you will find that you can now change the angle of what you want to see here. Just select the target and drag around, then you see this. Okay. So you can change the viewpoints and so on. This is one. Second thing, if you click on the camera now, only the camera and nothing else. If you click on only the camera now, and you start dragging them around, you'll find that you are moving around the scene and all. So if you will realize eventually, if you position it very close to the corner of the room, of the space, this is almost the optimal angle of which you can see most parts of the interior here, just by doing this. All right. Back to covering the camera angle portion here. Okay, back to covering the camera lens. Now, you see just now I asked you, don't ask why, just put 20, right? Okay, can you try, and now, can you try to see if you put 200, what happens? What are you seeing at 200? Okay, if you put the lens to be 200, you'll find that the field of view is so narrow, it's like a telescopic lens. If I put view of 50, it's still very narrow. Okay. If I do 20, it looks all right. But if I do 15, for example, look at my screen here. If I do 15, All right, you will begin to notice can we resolve the technical problems later? Look at the screen first, because this is the instructional bit which I need to train the student's eye to be able to see properly, to be able to do this part of the work properly. Yeah. Now, here, if you notice, if I were to change the stock lens to 15 mm, you will begin to see this one and this one. You begin to, instead of seeing two walls here, this is a 2-point perspective. It does this and then it will converge. The convergent point, the vanishing point will be here. The vanishing point for this one will be somewhere here. So it's a 2-point perspective. Okay, vanishing line. Now, when we start to see 4 walls, this is one of the walls, this is one of the walls, then we are going into what we call the fisheye lens mode. All right, when it goes into the fisheye lens mode, that means the space is unnaturally wide. That means you are exaggerating what is actually available space. All right, so I find that eventually do not use the 15 mm lens unless you want to exaggerate things. All right, staying with 20 is by far the most optimal angle to go with. All right, for one. Okay. All right, this is the part where we covered the perspective views on how to place them. After you have done this, I want you to rename this camera, call it perspective camera. Can you do that, please? Perspective camera. You must select the camera, go into modify to be able to do this. New users, you tend to be very confused with one thing. Hey, now let me further elaborate on this one, okay? Being a new user, you are often very confused with, hey, do I select the camera? Do I select the target? Or do I select both? All right? This is the part where I have to explain this in detail so I won't confuse you any further. When you click on the camera itself, you notice when you click on the camera, the white area here that looks like a camera icon will light up. It will become white color. When you click on this little box here, that is the camera target. Only the target will light up. Now, if you click on, I deselect this, if you click on the line in the middle, notice when you highlight over, you mouse over the camera and the target, the entire thing yellows out. Okay? So when you click on the line in the middle, this is when you select both the camera and the target. It's very important for you to understand and remember this part here. All right, it's one of those user interface which you have to understand, and we will be doing an entire lesson on this today. Yeah, this part. Are you done on this already? Okay, so you have first of all created the perspective camera. This file today, please save it. It's going to be your in-class exercise. You will need to submit a few things. This one you render. Okay. Now, next thing I want to cover is how to precisely position the camera. Precise, this part. Okay. How to do this? We can simply select this camera here. Okay. We can simply select the camera. Let me show you an example right now. I have misplaced the camera. Intentionally, I have misplaced this camera now. Oops, I messed it up. Okay. Now I need to get back to that precise location again. How do I do this? I will do this by referring to the coordinate system here in 1. Okay, you see 1, there's an X, Y, Z coordinates here now. I can simply key in these and I will get into that position precisely. Yeah? So I show you. Now, when I select the camera now, I right click to call out the move transform type in. I right click on the move icon to call out the move transform type in. I have only selected the camera. So down here, I key in the absolute world X, Y, Z. Yeah? So I just show you, I magnify my screen a little bit to show you here. Okay, it says here X-axis 516387. So I will just key in here 516387. Enter. Okay. Must be on plan view. You have to be on plan view. All right. Then I look for this. On the y-axis here, it says 254. So I will do this. I will key in the coordinates here, 254. Enter. All right. And then just to make sure, the z-axis says 1500. So I key in 1500. Notice right here now, my camera has been reinstated to the absolute precise location at this point. It is precise. This one won't go wrong. Huh? This is how we establish camera positions accurately. Yeah?
You need to understand this basically because the rest of the exercise we're going to work on later on will be based on these coordinates.
First things first, can you, when you have this already, Control Q it, do a render. You can do a quick render on this one first. Alright, and then save this image and call it perspective camera, or just 01 space perspective camera. Save it. Save the rendered view. Because this is going to be your in-class exercise submission. You will have 6 items to submit later by the end of the lesson today. Call it 01 space perspective camera. Alright, okay? I think most of you, your computers should be faster than mine. Mine's really slow. So it's taking a long time to finish up the rendering thing. Okay? Alright? So when you are done here, click on this icon here called Save Image. And then give it a logical name, call it 01 perspective camera. Okay? And then do a JPEG, and then you can then save it. Okay? Save this one up. Best quality, okay. So you will end up with something here. Alright? Name it like this. Alright, let's move on to the next camera setting here that I want to share with you.